Hello and welcome to The Wiz Says. I am The Wiz. Today I'm going to talk about a movie that I've been looking forward to ever since it was announced early last year. It's from one of my favorite directors, which is Richard Linklater. Linklater, if you don't know who he is, he's the director of such films as Slacker, Dazed and Confused, the Before trilogy, which is Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. He's made the one's Bernie, which was really good. He is a multifaceted director that doesn't really have a style per se, but with almost every film he does, they tend to be quality films. The most recent one that he got a ton of acclaim for was Boyhood, which was a couple of years ago, about the film that was made in a 12-year span. That was an interesting experimental film. This film that we're going to be talking about is his most recent, Everybody Wants Some. Now, the film is set 3 days before school starts, where the main character of the film is set to be on the school baseball team as on a scholarship. And with that, he meets his teammates, they go out, do things. If you've seen Dazed, Confused, Slacker, and a lot of Linklater's non-constructive, non-plot films like that, you're gonna understand where Everybody Wants Some goes into this. Well, the thing is, with Everybody Wants Some, it has a lot in common with Dazed and Confused. It is a snapshot of a certain time. It's played in the past, so instead of being in present day, it's going to be put into the 80s at this point. And it's about basically just 3 days of a life of a kid who is just starting to grow and find out what it's like to be outside of parents' purview and trying to grow from there. Now, I like the film. The film is good, but if you're coming in set to think that this is the next Boyhood or the next Dazed and Confused, you might want to hold up on that. The reason why is this film is kind of like Linklater doing an American Pie film. Now, before some of you go, whoa, that sounds terrible, not in the sense of the raunchiness or the sense of just the plain like sex comedy. It's not that, but it has that tone. It has the tone of a bright, cheery kind of, all these people are attractive, all these people are charming in their way and have something good going on. Everything's good. Everything's great. And that's where the film kind of leads it on from there. The second thing that you're going to notice as well is the movie does call out Dazed and Confused. It doesn't do it outright, but it does it in a way that is subtle. But for those who've watched, and maybe have watched multiple times Dazed and Confused, you'll notice it right away. Like certain locations in the film, certain ways things are shot, certain ways things are done in the film when it comes to the certain characters, character types, archetypes. You will see right away that this is meant to be a continuation of Dazed and Confused in a way, a spiritual successor, like mentioned before. The differences, though, between Dazed and Confused and Everybody Wants Some are twofold. One, although there's one main character in the film that is set on and it follows, you don't learn much about any of the characters, really. It's meant to be what Dazed and Confused became, which was a film remembering a certain time in a person's life where you grew and you felt a certain type of way. The other thing with this film basically is with its brighter scope of colors and its brighter way of actually filming the film, it has a Hollywood vibe to it that, although more accessible, comes off less genuine. And and it's not bad. I'm not going to sit here and say this is a bad film in the sense of a way, but it does feel like a lesser director decided to make a Dazed Confused movie, but in college, and they went through the studio system to do it. Although it is Linklater who did the film, I wouldn't put this towards one of his better or best films. It's a good film that he directed. He directed with I wouldn't even say he directed with a style. He just went through uh, the paces of what he did in Dazed and Confused in a sort of way, but only with college. And I think that's one issue I actually had with this movie, is that as much as it's supposed to show what the college life is like and how things turn out and how things start, and maybe emit some sort of feelings and some memories of your own. If you're already well aware of Dazed and Confused, you're gonna notice the similarities right away, which takes away from the film. Is that fair to a sense to criticize that because of that? Yes and no. That's going to be deciding on you. If you have never watched Dazed and Confused or don't like Dazed and Confused, one, I don't know why you'd want to watch this, but two, you may find more of it enlightening. Or if you had more fun and more memories in college, you might get more out of this movie. The best things about the film are also the best things about Dazed and Confused, which it shows a time and place and of a camaraderie of people from different walks of life. Everybody Wants Some is mistakenly an 80s film. It's set in the 80s. You're going to notice 80s tropes. No matter how you look at it, it is an 80s film. It is set in the 80s, and it's pervaded throughout the film. Now, despite the fact that Dazed and Confused was set in the 70s, there is a unique timelessness to that movie that permeates throughout the film that can make you attach yourself to certain characters and certain things in the film that will make you remember your own high school, which is what makes Dazed and Confused such a classic film. And that is where Everybody Wants Some kind of falls apart. It becomes a period piece, which is not bad. It's not a bad thing per se. But when comparing it to, again, Dazed and Confused, where it is technically a period piece, you can still look at it and say, I can connect in some way with that film. Like maybe some can connect with Superbad, or could connect with American Pie, maybe. I didn't get that with Everybody Wants Some, but I can also say that maybe because of what I went through in college. I'm more than willing to admit that. But as it stands, I can look at Everybody Wants Some and say it's a good movie, but it doesn't hold the same kind of ethos or the same kind of feelings that I have with Dazed and Confused the first and second and third and fourth time I watched. Maybe in time that will be different, but whereas Dazed and Confused was a picture in time, which was high school. It wasn't the 70s, it was high school. And that's what made that unique. This is portrayed more like an 80s sex comedy. It's just not what I was expecting, and not exactly the strongest suit for Linklater, in my opinion. So overall, I can say I like the film. If you're interested in the film, watch it. Watch Everybody Wants Some. It's a fun movie. It's good. If you're coming into it like I did and saying it's Linklater doing another one of these period pieces about high school or about being young, oh my god, I can't wait. Just hold up a second and manage your expectations accordingly. Or, like I said, if college was more your thing, then this might be what I would say my feeling with Dazed and Confused was. In my opinion, I like Dazed and Confused more, despite Everybody Wants Some being a good film. It's not great. It's not one of his best. It's a good film, though. But I will say that for people who went to college, and for people who had that experience, give it a watch. You might be surprised by how much you like. And with that, I will end this review. I am The Wiz Says. You can find me on Facebook at The Wiz Says. You can find me here on YouTube. Of course, if you're watching this, you already know that. I'm also on Twitter at The Wiz Says. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And for more of The Wiz Says, just keep it right here. And I'll see you next time where you can find out what The Wiz says next.